Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on 8 powerful strategies to build your e-commerce business. We've been going through all of the strategies around launches, which is an acronym. Today, we're on our third week, so we're talking about niche, bundle, or webinar. So these are the strategies that we've used to take stores from 0 up to 100K a month. Those are stores with large audiences, but there's no reason that you shouldn't be paying all of your practice bills by the 5th of the month with your reoccurring revenue from your online store. So today we'll be going into the third, which is the niche bundle. If you haven't met me yet, I'm Chelsea. I'm the sales executive here at Get Healthy. I am a clinician myself. I've been in the digital space around healthcare since 2014. So I have a long background in launching online commerce stores, selling online. And we're also joined with Courtney Bell, our amazing marketing director. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, if you haven't seen us before, I'm Courtney Bell, marketing director for about 3 years here at Get Healthy, and just excited to give you some resources today on your niche webinar. So if we can go ahead and jump into what we always say is there are no dumb questions here. So feel free to ask anything you want. This industry and this content that we're presenting on is fairly new, and we know that not everyone is an expert. So feel free to ask questions, drop your questions in the chat. You can raise your hand. You can do the Q&A. There are a lot of different options here, and we want this to be interactive.
Yeah. And if Courtney forgot to mention, she has a background in neuroscience. So she'll be weighing in on why these things work and giving you a little bit more of an insight into how to make these strategies work for you most when scaling your store. And again, this is a new industry. E-commerce in the health space was really pushed forward during COVID. People wanted healthy products more than ever before, and they didn't have a way to buy from their practitioner or their known trusted advisor. So these are the strategies we've developed. We've seen them work time and time over and over again. You can use all of them, stagger them monthly, you can combine them. But niche bundle or webinar is a really interesting way to start monetizing, launching your store. So what do we mean by a niche bundle or webinar? What is a niche? Most of you have been taught as you get into the nutrition industry that if you're selling to everyone, you're selling to nobody. So a niche means that you have a topic, you have a certain type of clientele that you're selling to. Now, I will say, as I say that, the average American spends $50 a month on supplements, $50 to $56 a month on supplements. On our stores, we see that there's an average order value of $150. So although we tell you to niche down, there should be a wide offering of products, not an overwhelming offering of products on your store, but you do have usually the mom buyer coming to your store. So what that means is she's buying for her pet, she's buying for her husband, she's buying for her kids and her loved ones, all from your one store. So although you may be niche down and you may really focus onto a certain topic, your store should be more broad than just selling to that audience. Our technology is smart enough to compartmentalize all of those products, put them in the categories they're supposed to be in, and then you can create your bundles to actually cross-sell around those products. But just something to know that although we'll use this niche to launch you, your store should have a wide offering as well.
Yeah, and so we did talk about niching down last week as well in your unique product offering and trying to really use your authority, what differentiates, in the industry from, say, an Amazon, or if your patients are going to Amazon or anywhere else to find their supplements, the differentiation is really you. And so your unique product offering should really reflect that. And so this week, we're going to kind of link back to that. And hopefully, if you did get to do that last week, then this week you should be able to kind of take it to the next level with your niche, as Chelsea was kind of alluding to. So you want to create sort of a store experience, if you will. Now you have a really nice offering and it reflects your niche. Maybe it's wide enough to, give your patients a variety of products, but also narrow enough that it fits into your niche. So now we're going to talk about some different ways to continue kind of going down that path of, making this a niche experience, specialized to you, through bundles and some other practical tools. So.
And I'll share a little bit around my niche here. I never niched down when I got into starting this because I was in Hawaii as a very small audience. And so what I niched down into was the top nutritionist in the state. Now that allowed me to have many signature programs for people who would come to me. I would create a program around anything. If it was a man and he just wanted a rapid fat loss program, I would turn that into something that I could then bundle and rinse and repeat. But ultimately my specialty was PCOS. But I did have a multitude of products. So when I niched my store down, which was something that, if you guys have heard my story, I created a thing called Chelsea's List quite a long time ago with a big company. Really tried to launch essentially what Get Healthy does, but with a lot of money behind it and a lot of technical headaches that you guys do not have to experience. But the idea was that there was a one-stop shop that someone could go to and find eco-thoughtful, toxin-free products that were not going to be hurting the environment and that were professionally vetted. So my store, although I do focus into PCOS and I do focus into hormones, there is an ethos across my store that I try and pick products that have glass packaging, that think really about the environment, and that are not going to be putting toxins into the home, because that is a major part of my practice. So your niche can actually be the ethos of your store, as well as maybe perhaps what you work on.
Yeah, I love that. So let's jump into some examples of some stores who have done it really well. So looks like it's open over here. So this is Dr. Anna Maria, and she specializes in working with children. And Chelsea can speak a little bit more to her niche. But one of the things that I want to point out here is that she's really grabbed your attention with her store page. Everything kind of ties together. It's really targeted towards children. She has her signature bundles in, front and center on her page. And so she's really used her niche to start to build an experience for her clients. And I'll let Chelsea speak to anything else here.
Yeah, so as you'll see, she's got a constipation support kids bundle. If you're to scroll down, you'll actually see one for adults as well. So she realizes that kids are not the ones shopping her store. So she has created something that adults can go and look at as well. She's included videos, she's included text all along this. The colors are all matching. As you can see, she's used lots of eyeballs to get things on. And if you go and look at Dr. Anna Maria's social media, she does a beautiful job there, but she's really holistic in what she's prescribing or talking about, meaning that she's got non-toxic cleaning supplies. She has things about food. She has equipment. She has personal care. So beyond just the supplementation, she's talking about a whole entire lifestyle overhaul for these families. And that's something that's really important. You can see she's even linked out to her book. So although we may not have your book on your store, your marketing homepage is designed to make it so that there is a one-stop shop for everything. That means their services that they're buying from you, your online courses, and it's that seamless buying experience where there's less clicks. Every click you make someone make is going to be reducing your conversion by 20%. So you can look through her store. You can see some great examples of how she's niched down. It is obviously targeted to kids, but she knows that, again, kids are not the ones shopping it. So she's created bundles for mom, for dad, and even for pet.
Yeah, perfect. So another one, this practitioner, she specializes in EBV. And so let's take a look at her store as well. So what you can tell here, all the colors align. She's made this sort of a store experience. She has put some of her best-selling products that really tie back to her niche. And another thing that's really important to take away is she has some signature bundles down here that all tie back to EBV specifically, right? So a power bundle, an ultimate bundle, an essential bundle. So kind of like 3 different levels of bundles, right, for EBV that she has specifically lined out on her front page so that everyone can, shop what exactly she wants them to shop when she wants them to shop. So just another example of some great, color consistency. It matches her brand, it matches her niche, and looks great in the process. Anything else on that for you, Chelsea?
Her maintenance bundle is something I like to point out. So you'll see there's as we get into the niche webinar, what you're going to notice is that when you present on your store and you talk about a niche webinar, you're going to be presenting on the problem, but maintenance is huge. So your stores are designed to monetize people for a lifetime of you working with them. That's the beauty of them. You don't have to constantly chase the carrot of finding new clientele. They again know, love, and trust you. So always making sure that in your niche bundle or your niche area that you have maintenance. So we've fixed the problem. Now, what are they going to be buying from you monthly? That's something very important to think about.
Yes, key. Very good point. The third one I'll show you is the Gutsy Gynecologist. She is, obviously a gynecologist, but as it says in her name, she focuses on the gut, something very niche to her as a gynecologist. So again, the colors you can see are all very consistent here. She has some collections, as she calls them, but they're basically a collection of her signature bundles. And, again, as you keep kind of scrolling down, it looks like, her colors haven't been changed here yet. But again, she does have some signature bundles down here that she would like her patients to be taking. So
I'd love to just weigh in on that foundational collection that she has there.
Yeah.
So as we talk about this niche webinar and you guys running it, essentially you and your coaching is your high ticket item. And so having a bundle that is a downsell where you would be happy if anyone purchased it, if they never talked to you one-on-one, which all of you as practitioners should have. You should have a foundational bundle that you know that everyone should be taking, vitamin D, fish oil, multi, whatever it is, based on the environment. So making sure that you have that downsell bundle to talk about in your niche webinar is also very important. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say there.
Perfect. So just again, taking away from this, we want to focus on brand consistency, leading the clients to your niche products, and you can see that they have at least one signature bundle. So we'll kind of talk about next what you should include in your signature bundle. So I'll let Chelsea speak to this a little bit.
Depending on your price point, you want to really manufacture a signature bundle that is something that's very affordable for people to be purchasing. Generally speaking, like I said, $150 is a great price point for somebody to be looking at. Now, if you're in the fix the problem phase, we realize there may be more expensive bundles. So instead of creating this very overwhelming bundle that might have a price ticket of $1,500, which you could do and you could push out in a limited time offer or something like that, you can divide these into phases. So having the phase approach, if your signature bundle is exponentially more than $150, can be something to consider. Now, your signature bundle is also just a great name to use. So having that signature bundle around, say for me, if I'm going to run a webinar, it's usually on PCOS. I have a specific story about it. I can talk about insulin resistance. And there are things that I know that every single PCOS patient should be on every single time. Now, I might have a detox in there and then their maintenance is slightly different, but having that signature bundle that's about $150 that I can get testimonial from as well, with people saying, hey, I took these products and X, Y, and Z happened for me. Or that's a nice way to get around a claim. I took these products. I've been taking protein powder for years. It's always made me gassy. This one didn't. These greens tasted great. My family even loved them, and they were the best price point that I had. So having that signature bundle that you want every single person to start with, and then maybe a signature bundle that you want everyone to maintain on, can be really important. We've talked about this before too, promoting with the blinders on like you're on a horse race. The reason that horses get blinders on is so that they're not looking around. And if you're really focused on using your store in a prescriptive way, riding carts and things along those lines, in addition to having that one signature bundle that you're practicing rinse and repeat and really selling and getting everyone on, you'll start to see that revenue really spike for you. So having that signature bundle, again, if I was going to do PCOS, I would go through the whole entire presentation. I would talk about berberine. I would talk about things like inositol. So I'm actually really talking about the ingredient. At the end, I'm not going to talk specifically about the product. I'm going to talk about the ingredients. I'm going to talk about the quality of the ingredients. I'm going to talk about the delivery method. And then I'm going to say, hey, I've put together my top favorites over here, but they're going to feel like they were very educated on the ingredients themselves. They're not going to feel like it's a hard sell. So that's what we mean about having your signature bundle right there and really creating content around it.
Yeah, I love that. Those were some great nuggets. And again, just to kind of pull out some of the key points there, something that you would recommend that really ties back to your niche, right? Something that you are okay with pricing about $150, right? Something that's easy for people to ideally purchase. Not everyone can purchase that price point, but it's a pretty reasonable price point. Something that you can make sort of a maintenance bundle so that they can continue to purchase it potentially, and you might have some potential for subscription or recurring orders. So great nuggets there. And the next kind of step once you've done that is to, as Chelsea has been alluding to many times now, um, developing a course and presenting it. So in a webinar, even in like a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live. But if you develop the course content, develop kind of a lot of those, taking those little nuggets that Chelsea just gave you, putting them into kind of a beginning, middle, and end, and then presenting that to your clients live, then they can ask questions from you, they can interact, and it can be much more engaging for them to get to speak to you. Again, you're the authority, and that's why they've come to you. So anything else about that, Chelsea?
Selling it with a story is very important in this. So as doctors, as clinicians, we get really scientific and people love that. It edifies you, but you don't want to be over their head. We'll talk a little bit about selling the destination, but people buy why you do what you do. We'll talk about this in the story part of this launches series as well. But they buy why you do what you do. So for me, I have a very personal story around PCOS. I was going to be offered surgery, changed my whole entire life versus natural supplementation. Women who are listening to me are feeling at a dead end. They're not understanding that they have other options. So I'm really talking heavily about that story, tying it in. I'm not getting into the whole entire pathways and things that are really over their head. Give a great example of this. I'm in the middle of buying my first home. My loan officer loves to explain things to me. I happen to be his nutritionist. It was way over my head what he was explaining to me the other day. And I said, John, I don't tell you what happens when you eat broccoli. I just tell you to eat it and I tell you how to make it taste good. So that's the kind of concept that you want to take when you're using these niche webinars.
Mm-hmm. Making it digestible, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no pun intended.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. And that kind of ties into
your niche webinar. So I picked some really general niches here. Sleep, allergies, weight loss. You guys might be way more niched down, but if you are a sleep doctor, people are coming to you because they have terrible issues with sleep. And so how do we get people into these webinars that have Zoom fatigue? It's not going to be, hey, I'm running a webinar on sleep. That doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't sound fun. No one really wants to join that. We're going to be talking about here, this is how you can lose 10 pounds through sleeping and feel really amazing and wake up feeling rested and your dark circles go away. Same with allergies. You're talking about the destination, not the plane ride. I always say this, it's a thing I've learned in marketing. I lived in Hawaii for many years. No one wants to know about the plane ride. Even if you're in first class, no one wants to know about it. They don't want to know what's going on with the technology. They don't want to know who the pilot is. All they want to know is that when they're sitting on the beach, how they're going to be feeling. So when you're talking about getting people into these niche webinars, talk about perhaps the feeling where they are now, feeling overwhelmed, feeling destitute, feeling sick, feeling unenergized, and then compare that to how they're going to be feeling at the end of your webinar. And then within that, you can give them that information that is so important as a functional medicine practitioner, where you're saying, hey, there is another option. You can do X, Y, and Z, but still really focusing on the end goal. If you sell someone a detox and it's really hard to do for 15 days and you talk about what they can't eat, they're going to just be so overwhelmed. But if you sell them a detox and you say, this is how you're going to feel at the end of 15 days, these are all of the amazing things that you can eat, and you just avoid the things they can't do, it's a much more psychologically digestible way to present something and get people engaged and excited. So using those niche webinars right there, they're very general, but using those feelings that they're going to have and those pain points that they currently have to get people into that webinar with you is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And playing on, we try and encourage, kind of marketing for good, if you will. So we're not trying to trick anybody into trying to buy something from you, but we also want to give you the tactics that you need and the tools so that you, at the end of the day, really can help people, you know, grow and get healthier. And so, you know, playing on those emotions, if you will, and starting at the destination and saying, you know, this is how you're going to feel, not only physically, but emotionally, how it affects your entire life, what your life is going to look like, visualizing that is a huge tool that you can use in a good way, and you are trying to help them. And I think if you position it like that, then people are always going to, you know, be encouraged and, you know, really see that you want to, at the end of the day, you're not trying to just sell them supplements. But we also do want you to be able to use those supplements and monetize those and tie those in, as Chelsea said, as the downsell to your webinar. So always make sure to include that, and always make sure to talk about subscriptions as well. So this is one of the key things to making your business sustainable over time, right? Using your signature bundle and really, you know, honing in on that, making the branding great, making your content great. If you want to focus on nothing else, focus on your signature bundle and make it sustainable so that every month your patients can get on that subscription. So just something to take away that is very key there. Chelsea, go ahead.
I was going to say selling the plane ride with your supplements as well too. We all know that if you take a supplement one time, it's not going to do anything. So you really want to highlight for them, hey, you want to take this for 3 weeks and then you're going to notice X, Y, and Z. There's certain supplements out there, you know, lithium, you can sometimes feel an immediate shift. Magnesium, you might just go ahead and poop in the morning. So you can get them excited about taking that almost immediately. But there are many supplements that we know, hey, progesterone, you've got to be on it for at least 3 weeks before we retest you. So I've actually created a subscribe and save model for you on my store where you can go ahead and sign up for that, set it and forget it, and it'll make sure that it comes to your house and you're on that. So convenience and selling the feeling that they're going to have after the period of time that you know that they need to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it's just something that I noticed that a lot of our practitioners, you know, it's not something that would first come to their mind is including a subscription, because of course not everyone needs to be on a subscription, and we understand that it's in certain circumstances. But you know, for me personally, I know that, you know, vitamin C is something that I'm going to need every month, vitamin B, very essential things. And obviously if in your case, or you know, if someone's coming to you for PCOS, Chelsea, you know, you can recommend something on a monthly basis, or, you know, you have the option to set a subscription for every 3 months. That's the thing about our subscriptions, is you can set them differently. And so, you know, it doesn't have to be a monthly thing, and you can actually help them set up their subscription the right way so that it recurs when you kind of want it to recur, or help them with that. So
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. So I do a lot of genetic testing in my practice. And so I will look at people, and for these products that are maybe one time, like a detox, a 15-day detox, I'll say, hey, I'm sorry, you have really poor detox pathways. You need to do this every season change. And so we'll set those subscription reminders to come to them. They might not need to change their diet dramatically, but it's a couple extra pills and a couple extra packs of protein with glutathione that they're taking for 15 days every 4 weeks. And it just comes automatically to them and kind of reminds them to take it.
yeah, exactly. And there's that subscription reminder 7 days before, like you said. So even if you set that subscription, you know, a month or 2 months or 3 months ahead of time, they're going to get a reminder, and it's going to probably, if they've kind of fallen off a little bit, maybe it'll remind them to get back on, you know. So you know, that's something that I personally, again, as a consumer, appreciate, is, you know, if I feel like I've kind of forgotten about, you know, to order my contacts or something like that, then I really appreciate that reminder. So you know, it can be a great tool in many different ways.
Absolutely.
So
And you guys can check your subscriptions as well too. So you can always go into your orders tabs and you can see what subscriptions you have running. You can also filter by cancellations. So if you have a marketing team and they want to reach out and say, hey, we noticed that you canceled your vitamin D, but we know that you need to be on it in perpetuity. Did you not like the flavor or the delivery method? Do you need us to get you another one? Great tool for you in your back office.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Yeah. So that is it for today. I will leave it open for any questions if we have them. So feel free to drop a question in the chat if you'd like. You can talk to us about anything. It doesn't have to be about this webinar necessarily. This is technically an office hours. So if you do have a question about anything, just feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll give you a minute to think about your questions.
I see a question here about where to host the webinars. So personally, there's many ways that you can do it. GoToWebinar is great. You can also just use Zoom. I love personally Leadpages to create opt-ins. They're wonderful. They deliver, they integrate with both of those softwares. So Leadpages is a really easy way. I think it's about $25 a month for a basic account to build those up. And so I would recommend trying to run one webinar every 2 months. Month might feel a little overwhelming to your audience, but it very much depends on your audience and your capacity. Once a quarter is also a great way to do it, but it's up to you and your marketing.
Love it.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, feel free, you all have a live chat in your back office. So if you'd like to talk to someone in real time, you can click something else and that will get you to someone during business hours. You can always book with your account manager, whoever that may be, to run through any of this and get some support. And next week, we will be talking about our C of launches. So that's going to be community challenge.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Thank you, guys.
Thank
See
you,
you
everyone.
later.